So you guys mentioned you guys are gonna order pizza later. I was wondering what kind of pizza you guys gonna order?
I'm not ordering it. I like Supreme with everything.
I'm from New Mexico, so I really love
Green chili,
pepperoni, pineapple, and green chili. That is like my favorite. So shout out to my New Mexicans.
Good. Is your pizza going to contain any dead animals in it?
It might.
Pepperoni, yeah.
Some of them probably won't, because some people here do not eat meat, and I'm not one of them.
Okay, so you're not one of them. So how do you rationalize the belief that it is okay?
So I'm just gonna say, this conversation always takes us way off topic, because there are wild disagreements among atheists about whether or not it's a good idea to be a vegetarian. And I do not dismiss those people's arguments entirely. They're just not at a level that has convinced me to become a vegetarian so far. But I'm bringing this up because I don't think that vegetarianism is a God versus no God issue, and so I feel like it's generally off topic for the show.
It's not. Well, the reason I don't think it's off topic because it kind of has to do with morality.
Okay. Well, let's talk about morality in a more general way.
Okay, so do you believe evil exists?
That feels like it oversimplifies the questions of morality and ethics. I mean, to say that evil exists, I mean, that's like asking me if iambic pentameter exists. Like, yeah, there are poems that follow a certain structure, and that's what we call it.
Okay. So I guess how would you convince an atheist to behave ethically in the sense of not harming others?
Well, there are a number of different ways. I mean, there are definitely social punishments in place, and there's also the issue of empathy, of understanding that people are similar to you, and that if you don't like something, then somebody else probably doesn't like it when it happens to them. And the question, I mean, I've raised kids, and the question of how to convince kids to do the right thing is non-trivial. And in my experience, I have never particularly noticed that religious kids are better at it than atheist kids.
Well, for example, there's some very religious people who are vegan. And I guess they kind of use God to justify it. I mean, well, even like, for example, the Bible says we should not eat like pigs. So I think, I guess I could make the argument that they are more moral than atheists.
I mean, you can say that, but opinions are going to be divided on it. There's also there's also a very long tradition among like Catholics, for instance, that you should eat fish at a particular time. So if your metric is that people who don't eat any of the flesh of dead animals are better than people who do, then here you have Catholicism actively encouraging people to be immoral on those terms, right?
Yes, definitely. And I definitely disagree with any religious person who eats meat, because I've had this argument with other religious people.
Well, then I guess their religion is not effectively teaching them morality.
But I guess like my point I'm trying to make is that you could make, I guess it's easier to make a religious person to quit eating meat than an atheist person.
Not if their religion tells them to eat more meat, then it's harder.
Yeah, and that's definitely true.
Okay, so I guess religion is not the determining factor in what's good.
Yeah. It's definitely, I'm not making that argument at all. For example, like you said, empathy towards others, that you understand that people feel pain just like you. Do you think animals feel pain?
I think they may, although I don't personally. Oh, you're taking me down this track again. We've had a lot of these discussions, and opinions are widely divided among atheists.
Yeah, I'm trying to understand why some atheists, and I know there's a lot of atheist vegans, which hooray for them.
Right.
But I'm trying
Ciera,
to understand why.
Are you a meat eater?
Absolutely. I don't know if I could give it up. And I love animals, and I do think that they feel pain.
But I don't love, for example, shrimp. I don't find they may have some negative response to stimuli, but I don't treat them as if they feel pain in the same sense that people do.
I love to eat shrimp.
Yes, I like them shrimpies.
Prawns.
So morality is definitely evolving, and there's a psychologist, Steven Pinker, who says as a society we're becoming better, and I guess in the future you can see that people are going to become vegan based on this morality that as a society we are becoming better and I guess the main argument to be vegan is because of number one, ethical reasons. You shouldn't cause unnecessary harm unto others. Obviously, out in the wild and other animals is the only option.
So you're okay. So I said that this wasn't necessarily relevant to atheism, and you said it was because it was about religious morality. And then when I said that some religions run contrary to this, then you said, well, my argument isn't that religion helps you be vegan or vegetarian. Are you coming at this from a religious perspective or not?
Well, I guess in the sense, all right, so let's say you have...
Are you an atheist or a theist?
I was baptized Catholic.
So are you still a Catholic?
I don't really go to church.
Okay, and you don't eat fish?
I have a belief, for example, let's say you have a little kid.
But, I mean, ultimately in this conversation, are you trying to convince us that God exists, or are you just, doing a sales pitch for us to become vegan?
Instead of converting you to be a theist, I would say I'd rather convert your morality.
Okay.
Because...
but you're going to do it on the basis of God says don't eat any meat?
I guess my main argument is that, for example, let's say you have a young kid who came from a troubled home, and he, and let's just say, if you do good, Santa Claus is going to give you gifts for Christmas. Well, if this kid does not believe in Santa Claus, then he's going to say, no, I don't believe in Santa Claus, so I'll keep doing this evil and bad stuff.
Or the kid could just decide, I don't want to hurt people, so I'm not going to do... I mean, Santa Claus doesn't exist. Can we agree on that?
Yes.
So the question of whether Santa approves of something or not has absolutely no bearing on whether you should do something or not. Whether that thing is being vegan or burning your house down.
Well, I guess you can make the argument that we humans, we have a very primitive mind, and it's a lot easier to convert people who are atheists. And I know, there's a lot of holy books that condone eating animals, and I wish that their agenda was different. But let's say there was a holy book that really it's against eating animals. It would be really easy, because I've dated this Seventh-day Adventist, and she didn't eat any animals at all.
But, I mean, it sounds to me like, to the extent that you're religious, what you want is to pick a book that most closely aligns with the things that you already think are moral. Okay,
so you do admit it's moral?
No, I said what you want to think is moral.
Okay.
So, I mean, is that right? I mean, it's like you're saying that religions get you to be good, but it sounds to me more like you're shopping around for a religion that matches what you think is good.
Yeah, and that's why, even though, I'm Catholic, Catholics accept evolution. We don't really take the literal...
and that's fine. I just don't see why a religion has to come into it at all. Why not just skip the extra step and just go with what you think is right anyway and admit that that God's got nothing to do with it.
Exactly, but if that were the case, you would be vegan, right?
No, I already told you. I mean, and I'm not trashing you vegans out there in the audience. I'm not saying that what you're doing isn't a fine thing to do. I'm just saying that I am, as yet, not converted to vegetarianism or veganism, and I also don't find religious arguments for morality a good reason to do anything.
Well, the dictator from France, back in the day, Napoleon, he said...
Napoleon.
Yeah, religion is there to keep the poor from stealing from the rich, which is like, I guess it was successful in many aspects of it, whereas if they were...
Do you take all your advice about world affairs from ancient dictators?
No, it's just to prove a point that I guess it's easier to make religious people do moral things in some aspects, and not all aspects. Obviously, many religions have been perverted for their evil agendas and stuff. And I totally understand atheists on that aspect. But I guess, how would you... So are you saying there's no hope in making atheists be vegans? Is that what you're saying?
Well,
no, because I said a lot of atheists aren't vegans. My sister is vegan. I love her very much. And I support her when I go out to eat with her. I definitely keep an eye out for things the staff screwed up that are things that she doesn't want to eat. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
Go ahead.
No, you're fine. I was just going to say that, there's a lot of, really it's just a preference. There's a lot of religious and non-religious people who are vegan.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. But so I guess I really want people to understand that paying for murder is wrong, or murdering animals is wrong. But I don't understand how other atheists could see that, but not...
Okay, well, I don't understand how anybody who takes the Bible seriously could see that, especially when it has all these animal sacrifices in the Old Testament. So, again, I think it's just a sidetrack to the actual conversation, which is interesting, but still off topic.
So,
anyway, thanks for calling.
Wait, hold on. So my point is that, I really respect atheists because I guess they really go out of... They just don't take in society's norms. They kind of, obviously they're 10% of the population. And so...
And we're growing.
You guys accept eating animals because it's kind of like a society norm. So you guys are kind of dictated by
not it.
society.
Okay, well, thanks for calling, though.